Allow me to beg your indulgence for one moment. This is the artist formerly known as Damian Sandow, now known as Aaron Stevens, and you're listening to the Talk and Roll Express with Lewis, Thomas, Oliver, and Cameron, covering everything from murder mysteries to union stabs and always getting the job done straight from the enclosed pool area. You're welcome.
Hello, gentlemen, and if recent census results are to be believed, lady, and welcome to Talk and Roll Express. I know what you're thinking. This isn't your usual introduction. Well, it has to be seen or heard to be believed. Lewis has done a Steve Austin circa 2002 and gone home. Why? Because in keeping with our recent idea to let each presenter take the reins and call the shots, Thomas decided that this week we are reviewing 1995's ECW Hostile City Showdown. So, gentlemen, Ollie first, please. What do you think of the pay-per-view?
When this pay-per-view was done, he's
left.
he's fucked up. He's left the room.
I didn't think it was that good.
When this pay-per-view was broadcast, I was 2 years of age, so therefore I'd have no awareness that Hostile City Showdown 1995 ever happened, and I wish that was still the case.
Well, being that Thomas doesn't seem to be ready, I'll just go next. I just spilled a load of coffee. So my main goal for today is to employ my best heel tactics to prove to Thomas and the world that ECW's pay-per-view of 2006 December to Dismember is actually somewhat better than 1995's Hostile City Showdown.
I'd go along with that.
Stay tuned.
No, I can't remember any redeeming features of December to Dismember. This at least had one good match.
There was the Extreme.
I've got it all written down here, Thomas. Don't you worry. I will remind you promptly. Okay. Now, let's not waste any time because, of course, this being a Class A pay-per-view, there's plenty to get through. We're going to start with Mikey Whipwreck versus Stevie Richards. Thomas, what did you think?
I'm going to go to my notes on this one.
Shouldn't have to do that.
I have written that it was a hot crowd. There was some decent wrestling. But Hack Miles missed his cue to save Mikey Whipwreck.
I want to point out to the audience that this nearly never happened, okay? We're sitting here going, is there enough to talk about? And Thomas goes, listen, guys, I've got notes, plenty to talk about. He literally just said, this was definitely a wrestling match. And you know what, Thomas? By God, I have to disagree with that one, sir.
It was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
Of some sort.
It was defined as a wrestling match.
Mm-hmm. If this match was in the Tokyo Dome, Dave Meltzer would give it 5 stars.
Okay. Well, right. That is certainly a hot take there. I haven't actually got Dave Meltzer's review. How foolish of me! But I'm sure it was somewhere along the lines of exactly what you just said there, Thomas.
No, this was. I thought it was a decent opener for what it was.
I was more on the side of Mikey Whipwreck. I can't figure out who's heel for the life of me, but Stevie Richards looks very punchable, so I'm going to say that he's the heel. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, he's also wearing Daisy Dukes.
I'm trying to cast my mind back to the political situation of '95 to understand if that's a hot angle or not, but it certainly didn't feel like it.
Did you see the crowd?
He done a lot of waddling. Yeah, you know, the crowd, one thing that if I was to stop being a dick for 5 seconds, tough, the crowd are the best part of any of these early ECW events. But I'm going to reference it later, but this is the same crowd that at one point during the Malenko and Guerrero match decides to steer the attention all the way to someone else who's having a fist fight in the crowd as opposed to the magistrate that's going on in front of them. But, you know, keep defending them. Keep defending them. Dig that.
No. I am not defending the crowd here. I said, did you see the crowd? Not did you hear the crowd? Did you see the crowd? This is a crowd that's not going to take kindly to a man wearing cut-off shorts, jeans.
I will defend the crowd. There is nothing more enjoyable than going to an event and seeing someone start a fight in the crowd.
Yeah, it's true. I mean,
regardless of who's in front of you.
It doesn't matter if there is fighting happening in front of you. If two people start fighting in the crowd, it's then more important to watch them fighting.
Some of the worst fights that's happened in Scotland at an event in the last 10 years has been at a Coldplay gig and a Lewis Capaldi gig.
What the fuck?
If I was to just segue the conversation in one direction, which I'm sure there'll be many.
The one direction that happened as well.
Well, at one point, does an audience, right? Let me put it to you this way. Does an audience taking their eyes off of a wrestling match to focus on a fist fight going on in the crowd just prove that kayfabe is dead?
Right, see, to be honest, right, like, this is a shoot here. I only picked this episode because of that match. I don't remember seeing it, but I knew it got great reviews, and because of that, I thought, there's some violence on this, there's also some comedy, there's also like a 5-star wrestling match, this should be an interesting show. See the crowd, they really pissed me off. I've got a romanticised view of ECW. I grew up watching wrestling kind of during that era. I got into ECW about 97, 98. So I've got really fond memories of it. And it's like, oh no, do you know what though? I mean, they had violence, they had barbed wire, they had fire. But this is a crowd that really, really respected their wrestling. And then I watched this. And during the greatest fucking match they're going to put on this year, maybe the decade, the fans don't care. Apart from one guy who's at the front trying to redirect people back onto the match.
Gold star, yeah. The one thing that is kind of weird is seeing the contrast between that smarky crowd and modern day smarky crowds, and that, by God, not a lot has changed, really. To be honest,
not a lot has changed.
No.
Do you remember the guy? It was the NXT match, and it was Eva Marie, and the guy brought a book out, and you think to yourself, okay, but this is ordinary people reading the book, right? This was this guy reading the book at the front row, so the camera could see him. I was like, "You're a fucking dick, mate."
I mean, I would be like, I'm pretty sure I can pull up a Insane Championship Wrestling Fight Club show, and me and my friend were sitting next to the stair where they walk down, do their entrances, and the energy got ahead of me. I didn't pull a book out, but I was about as smarky as you could have got, to be honest, because I knew fine well I'd be on the camera all night.
I'd have gone for some heel hate there.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to not draw attention to myself, but just purposely, be a fan of heels and blah, 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 and just a dick, really, to be perfectly honest with you. Ollie, you are quite quiet about Mikey Whipwreck and Stevie Richards' performance here.
I'm going to be completely honest. About 5 minutes before we started recording, I thought his name was Steve Shipwreck. I was trying to talk about the opening match with Thomas, and I kept saying, what was it, Steve Shipwreck? And he was like, what? And he was like, Mikey Whipwreck. And I was like, what the fuck? Surely it was Steve Shipwreck.
Oh, we're doing well here. Well, of course, Mikey Whipwreck would go on to defeat Stevie Whipwreck to continue whatever storyline is going on there. I don't know, because the production of this show, now in the present tense, looking back on it, it's a tape that you would have traded for. You get the wrestling matches, the only promos you get are in-ring ones. That's it, no production whatsoever. My dad filmed my first steps, my imaginary father filmed my first steps on a better VHS camcorder than this pay-per-view was recorded on. Yeah,
it was one of those, as soon as it opened with the Mikey Whipwreck match, so I'm informed. And you just saw it, and I was like,
so excited.
It's going to be a difficult watch in more than one way.
And I think you're right about the tape trading thing, because back in the day, you actually did get these ECW tapes tape traded, so they were copied a few times in that, and you got it, and you made excuses for the quality of it. 2021, sitting and watching it on the network when you've just watched fucking Mania, and it's 3D imagery bouncing at your head and stuff like that, and you're like, yeah, it's not really aged too well. But how's the quality of the show? Well, interesting enough.
I literally feel like when they were putting the network together, they went, oh, there's a missing one here. And someone went, no, wait, I've got that one, and then just sort of like raked around for the 4th, 5th pressing. You know what I mean? Like it's
I was thinking
rough.
more a Be Kind Rewind type scenario where they just lost the tape, so they just got a camcorder out and just like recorded it. That was filmed in like 2016.
I don't know if it was you guys I was speaking to in regards to that, but that's my opinion on when Dusty Rhodes used to come out to support his son Cody Rhodes and Dustin. But it always sounds like his theme song was ripped, like YouTube ripped off of YouTube like 7 or 8 times over kind of thing. That's my theory I've got going on with that one.
Did you ever see the clip, the Sandman? And he's in an independent show in the UK. No. And they don't have a Sandman to hand, so they play like some fucking random music.
Was it like the theme tune to Ski Sunday or something?
It was
something
the theme
like
tune to the like
golfing
PGA.
Show or something.
It was the theme tune to the PGA or something like that. Yeah,
it was like the most British thing you can imagine. You're in a leisure centre in some provincial town, and you play the fucking grandstand theme tune hits, and Rob Van Dam walks out.
They play the grandstand theme, and there's an audience of 9, and he's walking down the bleachers, and he busts himself open to this crowd of 9, gets a mild pop, and then proceeds to down the half-open cracked can, and then pass it to the 6-year-old next to him, and then walks to the ring. Now,
what a legend!
That was the same day that Eddie Guerrero died.
What?
Yeah, to keep it relevant to this pay-per-view, people that went around as a meme, and so the smarkier among us, thank you, would then point out and go, "This might look like a low, but it truly is because he just found out that his friend died." So yeah, you guys are the dicks. I'm the enlightened one.
I thought I was in the 2010s, man. What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it was circa Eddie passing, unfortunately. Now you will need to watch my pronunciation of this next contender, Subo Genjin versus Tony Stetson in another singles match. Sorry,
love a singles match.
Singles match. I got the match type wrong. What did we think, gentlemen?
I mean, honestly, I could have watched this all day. This match,
I think it went on a bit too long.
Yeah,
really, they really dragged it out.
Is it Subo?
No, is that not?
Oh no, she was on
Britain's Got Talent.
I think it is, but I also still I doubt I pronounced Tubo. I doubt I pronounced the T.
I think it was Subo.
Genjin. I found some of his strikes to be a bit sloppy. I almost felt though it looked to me that he was someone who has a hard style and was told to soften up and doesn't know how, because there's a few swings that he takes that are just like, he's miles off the mark. Even in this 220p that we're watching this in, you can see the gap in the pixels that's there. But it was I would say better than the first match. Bit confused as to why this didn't open, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think it's quite harsh to talk about the quality of the camera work, though, it's all very well like watching WWE now, when they've got like the 8K camera the NFL uses, but can you play Snake on it?
I suppose.
I don't understand. I mean, did they have a disclaimer at the beginning of this pay-per-view that some of the footage is lost? Why even bother putting it in at this stage?
Would I be correct in assuming that maybe we actually did have some backstage segments then? I haven't watched anything ECW 95 other than matches and clips. So if you were to watch another pay-per-view from 95, if there is any, again, being the clueless one here.
Well, to be fair, this isn't even a pay-per-view. This is a super show, because the first ECW pay-per-view was 1997, the Bella Legal.
Right, okay. Right, so
if you want to be technical about it, but so they might not have even had like backstage segments and stuff. They're just doing a
show
they recorded.
Right, okay, no problem. Well, it would be back Bingo Hall, wouldn't it? As endearing as that has become nowadays.
I've got a picture outside of there.
I mean, you went there. The Black Book Hawkins.
I have genuinely
we lasted 15 minutes.
I have legitimately been there. I went there in 2013. I was
The
in
audience-
Philadelphia.
The audience at home will have to double check if that was literally on the 15-minute mark. if he was gagging to add that in there.
We're at 15 minutes and 23 seconds. It was marginal.
Now, Ollie, am I sensing correctly you have very little to say about this match?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Then I know what you're thinking, guys. Why hasn't Cameron mentioned December to Dismember yet? Of course, if you remember right, history fans, there's only 7 matches on December to Dismember. So, drum roll, please, as I just pull up our first match that we have to directly compare with Ian Rotten versus Axel Rotten. Have I got that right?
Yeah. The brothers.
Okay. Oh, they're brothers.
It's a blood feud.
Things are heating up. Well, speaking of brothers, in our first December to Dismember match, the Hardy Boys are versus M&M. Now, Thomas, explain to me, why is Ian Rotten and Axel Rotten feuding off here better than the Hardy Boys versus M&M? And second question, what is in the context of ECW, what the fuck is the difference between a barbed wire baseball match and a singles match?
I think it's quite obvious. I mean, did you see a barbed wire match, a barbed wire baseball bat in any other matches up until this point?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, yeah. I mean,
if I was to just pull out one in a singles match, would I get a slap wrist?
I think you would probably get away with it in terms of the rules of ECW, which was you were allowed to literally stab your opponent with sharp objects, but run-ins and outside interference somehow resulted in a disqualification.
Well, we're not animals here.
Well,
Exactly.
now see, this kind of starts to hit on exactly why I can't be gassed with Extreme Rules matches in any context, whether that be our beloved local promotion ICW, ECW, wherever. Why do rope breaks work? Why can people not run in, and why are there countouts?
Okay, I agree, but however, they do have it's the same with any disqualification match or a match where, you get it everywhere. Like, you cut the rope, and the referee counts 1, 2, 3, 4, he gets to 5, and he's got the wrestler looking at him going, "What are you gonna do? Disqualify me?" And he's like, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fuck it, man. I don't know, but Axel and Ian Rotten had some of the most violent matches in ECW. This is one of them, but it's not the worst violent match. You also seen the Taipei Death match?
No.
They actually taped broken glass to their fists and for the match. It was insane, absolutely insane. So this is quite tame by comparison. However, you need to look at the context of it. They've been a tag team together, like the Hardy Boys were, and they split up, like the Hardy Boys were. Like the Hardy Boys, they took it a bit too far. I don't think this match is better than the Hardy Boys match, but the Hardy Boys match is the only good match on that show.
Well, we shall see.
The Hardy Boys match did have the Hardy Boys. This match does not have the Hardy Boys.
And Elena done that thing where she goes through the bottom ring, and I got to see her bum.
This match doesn't also have, Ollie, what did you think of this match?
I mean,
he's just going to shrug his whole fucking
it just all sucked.
I like this match.
Stop talking about the match.
I think it's one of those. I think as more time goes by, I don't know. I'm less of a mark for extreme wrestling matches for the reasons that we've discussed. It's like, well, what makes it no disqualification?
You see, I agree 100%. This isn't a match that's aged very well. And me, it'd been 15, 14, whatever, when I first watched this. This match was great because I had never seen anything like it. And you're watching guys and they're like fucking pissing blood for their forehead and hitting each other. This didn't look like gimmicked barbed wire for a start.
Yeah.
There was no blade jobs going on here. There didn't need to be. Everything just seemed like legit, for lack of a better term. But yeah, I don't think it's really aged well. in terms of what we've really... But the worst thing is, out of this entire match, and like seeing like barbed wire and cuts and stuff, I still cringe more at seeing a chair shot to the head than I'll do anything like this. This is still safer, and it's in a strange way.
Well, I think it's why that with a cut, you can sort of see it. It's actually thinking about it, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but obviously it's a new bit. But watching football, and obviously over the course of this season, I'm a Wolves fan. So we've obviously had Raul Jimenez having his skull fractured in going up for a header. We also had Rui Patricio, who got knocked out. But seeing a head injury is a hell of a lot more concerning than when someone's broken his leg and he's screaming. There's sort of like something you can read, like with being cut with barbed wire. You can see he's bleeding. He's bleeding quite badly, but you can sort of understand it with a chair shot. You don't know what the fuck is. I mean, we know what happens with a chair shot to the head. Yeah, we know the end result of that. And we've seen it far too many times. But with like a cut, you're like, he's been cut, or he's broken his leg, he's hurt, he's pulled a muscle. But with a head injury, you just don't know what is have they got a concussion? Have you caused them to have a fucking aneurysm? Is that the chair shot that sends them going high? Yeah, it's just anything head injury related just makes me squirm.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I actually thought about it watching this match, and I was like, this is ultra violent and stuff. There was something dead gratuitous about it, but it still seemed quite safe in a weird way because they were both in on it. Whereas if it was a chair shot, for example, you can't play with something like that.
No,
it really is. But the crowd were really loving this, man. Like I think if Axel Rotten cut off Ian's head and just punted it into the crowd, they'd have cheered. Which said a lot more about Philadelphia than me.
Let's not rule that one out.
Well, I've heard of the match end again, I can't remember. But fellas, at this stage of the card, it didn't really bother me either because up until this point, there was no really hardcore matches. So you're kind of like, you need the extreme match at this point. So I was like, whatever.
I suppose that thing about ECW as well, it's extreme. Should that just render every match to bit? And again, with ECW's comeback, especially December to Dismember as well, because outside of the Extreme Elimination Chamber, were there any hardcore matches?
I can't remember, but I agree 100% with you, Cammy. I'm not a big fan of the Extreme rules if they're not really clear.
Yeah, or it should just be a complete bun fight.
Yeah, I personally, I feel like the hardcore aspects of the matches, if they're ambiguous, then all these arguments are relevant. It doesn't matter that we're in ECW and there are no extreme matches kind of thing earlier on the card. If I'm watching a card right now and they're flip-flopping between what rules they decide to follow and what ones they don't, I don't want to leave a wrestling match being confused. That makes me feel silly. It's wrestling after all. It should be simple. I should be rooting for a good guy, a bad guy, and it should be very obvious what's going on. That's just my take on it. December to Dismember, of course. That ends with Jeff doing the Swanton Bomb to Nitro and winning via pin submission. Here, slightly less tame, like you mentioned. Ian wrapped barbed wire around Axel's head and hit him with a chair to win the match. What's the better win? I'll leave that up to the audience.
What's more realistic?
I feel like I've just roped myself into a corner here, Thomas.
I would agree that, say for instance, a Coldplay gig in a city in Britain, maybe Glasgow. If you climbed onto like the sound tower or something, and then you just did a flip off it onto someone, you'd be sectioned. People think you were fucking nuts. But if you got some barbed wire, wrapped it around your man's head, and just twatted him with something, people would be like, "Yeah, all right." Bit much for me personally, but I can see your angle here.
I don't know. I feel like you're painting a pretty unfair image about Glasgow, one that's been perpetuated far too many times.
Can I just say, I don't think it is perpetuating an unfair image. No offence, Glasgow, if you're watching. And mentioning Angle, he walked out of ECW for not the violence, not the poor camera quality, but because they insulted religion. We should never forget that.
I think it had more to do with his image at the time, to be perfectly honest with you.
No. But also, the crowd also didn't take well to that angle. And for the people who don't know what we're talking about, Raven crucified the Sandman in the middle of the ring. He had to apologise to the ECW crowd because they did not take it well. So the ECW crowd are perfectly fine with wrapping barbed wire around somebody's head. Although I agree, I think that's a bit like Christ, but that's just me. And then hitting somebody in the head with a chair. They're cool with that. They're cool with Steve Richards and fucking Mikey Whipwreck wrestling. But do not insult Christ because they'll be upset. Philadelphia is weird, man.
Again, in real life, would you say that doing a flip onto somebody or crucifying them in the middle of somewhere is a more appropriate and believable reaction?
I mean, this was 96, I think it was. So at that stage, the WWF started kind of 1, 2, 3 kid, Taker with his purple gloves and things like that. So yeah, I mean, like crucifixion's but a shit.
I mean,
I don't know what to say to any of that. What I do know is that as far as this Wrestling Observer is concerned, 5 out of 5 stars for Decembertus as member thus far.
What I will say is that more or less the entire basis of society and our modern conventions are based on the fact someone was crucified 2021 years ago. I just think it's hypocritical that we can't just crucify people again.
Can we just say, I don't think Jesus was crucified at birth?
I'm aware of this now. What was he? He was in his 30s, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or I believe
How does Lewis just stop this from going into a complete fucking tangent?
I mean, the Sandman must have been in his 30s at that point.
Jesus.
No, the Sandman was only actually 24 at that point, but a fucking hard paper round.
He did, man.
The fourth bout on Hostile City Showdown, Raven with Stevie Richards and some person that I can't pronounce McGillicuddy, fought Tommy Dreamer in a singles match. What do we think, guys? Thomas?
I like Tommy Dreamer.
I like Tommy Dreamer, and I love Raven. I've been a massive Raven fan for years, and Tommy Dreamer and Raven, regardless how well it's aged, is one of the most iconic feuds in ECW history. And this was kind of around about its genesis of it forming. They had some, from what I remember, probably not very well, good matches. And like I said, a very iconic and legendary feud. The reason for it is explained in this show, and it's pretty poor. So basically, they went to summer camp together, and Tommy Dreamer was mean to an overweight girl, who then grew up to be a Playmate model. So that's the basis of this feud. And when that was explained to me in the context of this show, I thought to myself, how did this company draw money?
I'm struggling to work that out.
You chose this.
It's one of those, you do look back and it's like, how did you survive for as long as you did?
I sincerely believe they didn't know anyone filmed this, and that was justification enough for this storyline.
It's just candid camera.
Well, it would explain the quality.
This is a company, and maybe this is a bad day at the office. There's better shows. Like I said, I remember ECW very fondly. Maybe I'm looking
why
back,
didn't we watch them?
Hindsight. Because some of the shows are 3 hours long, and Lewis put a kibosh on that. Remember?
Yeah, but Lewis isn't here.
That's true.
Daddy's away.
Can we just busk it and pretend we did watch one of these 3-hour shows?
No, there's no need, Ollie, because I'm about to take us into a time machine and get us back to 2006 December to Dismember, where Matt Striker versus Balls Mahoney in a Striker's Rule match.
Yeah!
No gouging of the eyes, no pulling of the hair, no maneuvers on the top rope, and most importantly, no foul language. Now, I think everyone will agree with me that that is much more entertaining than whatever the fuck Raven and Tommy done in their allotted time.
But was that not the rules of WCW for like 94 to like 96 or something?
It gets me all hot and bothered, Thomas. It really does. This is to me, this is wrestling, okay?
I still can't believe that on Extreme Championship Wrestling pay-per-view, the best they could come up with in terms of stipulations were wrestling and an Extreme Elimination Chamber, whereby, damn, you know this big fucking steel hut we put wrestlers in and they throw each other into? We're going to put some chairs.
Can I just say this Strikers Rules match is literally my idea for a gimmick. I completely forgot this existed. And then I went, they fucking stole it from me. My idea for the day I get in shape and finally enter the squared circle was basically just someone that would enter a promotion like an ECW or an ICW type of thing, and then just got heel heat by banging on about the rules, to be honest with you.
Again, I will go for this.
Happened since. That must have happened since or before the Striker thing, because that sounds like something that's happened like in a bigger stage than Matt Striker against Balls Mahoney.
Is there a bigger stage? Is there a bigger stage than Matt Striker and Balls Mahoney? I'd like to argue otherwise, to be honest.
Has Kurt Angle done something like this?
Somebody's done something like this before.
It feels like an Angle. If it's going to be anyone between 1995 and Striker's Rules match, it very much feels like an Angle bit.
You're ruining my dreams here, because this is literally my gimmick that I've wrote down in my dream journal. So
unless Right to Censor did it.
Well, basically, yeah, I would be a one-man Right to Censor. I'd carry around a rule book, and then sometimes if things don't go my way, I'd open the book, I'd write in a new rule, point it to the crowd, and they'd be like, "Oh, fuck."
Are we going to do anything for Val Venus's career here, or...?
Was it Bill Watts who was in charge of WCW at that point when he brought in those rules?
Those are Bill Watts rules,
over the top rope and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's Bill Watts rules. Yeah, aye.
You want to create a character based on Bill Watts' business plan? That's an incredible gimmick, man.
It's brilliant. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I mean, no one ever watches this podcast, so I've still got time to cash it in. You know what I mean? So we'll be fine. Right. So we're looking here. I can see that in the James Brown Stadium, December 2006, Mahoney won the match after he performed a spine buster on Striker for the victory, beating Striker at his own game. I don't believe that personally. I believe that's just a Wikipedia.
I'm sorry. It was at the what stadium?
The James Brown Arena. I'm sorry, it's not a bingo hall, Ollie.
That can't be real.
I mean, Rocky IV type James Brown Arena.
I mean, given the political climate of today, I'm sure it's suffered a few name changes by now. A quick Google would probably correct that. When you guys are ranting and it's not my turn to rant, I will double check that for you. But just to double check on our boys, Tommy Dreamer and Raven, a convoluted finish to say the least. No contest.
Is that not what you got a finish?
Excuse me? Fucking wash your whore mouth, Tommy. Okay? Jesus.
Can I just say something about this match, though? And this is, again, getting back to the ECW crowds in general. Like, people in judgment. The biggest pop this match got is seeing somebody's pants. And that's a really bad indictment of this crowd, which, let's be honest, was the same crowd every week for like 5 years.
We need consistency. We need the same set of hillbillies showing up every week.
Which I think we got quite well. We've got Faith No More guy in the front row, the guy with the straw hat, something with a sign. That's commitment.
Was it actually the Faith No More guy? I can see him doing something like that.
No, but it looked a lot like him.
Are we sure it's not him?
I'm not sure it's not him.
I have to apologise to the audience at home and those in attendance. I seem to have gotten this a little wrong. There are not 7 matches on December to Dismember. There's only 6. So I'm going to have to win the argument in saying that the Balls Mahoney and Matt Striker match is better than Malenko and Guerrero. And I have to say, a strong contention.
I mean, what was this? This was just 2 dudes rolling around with each other.
Yeah.
There was a bit of top rope action, which
would get you suspended.
It made me feel a bit sick, to be honest. I can't be sure of this, but there's probably some foul language as well.
Most likely.
I don't even think this match is real. I think it's a false flag.
I would go along with that.
I can't help but feel that I'm being bullied right now, so I'm going to try and ask and poke you for your true feelings on Guerrero versus Malenko, please.
I have never been so close to applauding a wrestling match that happened 26 years ago than I have watching Malenko versus Guerrero.
This was just a pure wrestling match. It was excellent. And one of the things I did note about it, which I really liked, that is interesting, guys, that Jim Cornette will criticise today and say matches are too choreographed, and they flop, and you're like, fair dues. But this did have that in a smaller scale. You know what I mean? It wasn't a kind of case of like backflips off the top rope and stuff like that, but it had a real portrait to it.
It was that double drop kick as well, where they both drop kicked each other and they fell out. And it's one of those as well. For all Eddie achieved, if you turn around and said this will be the peak of his career, it's like, well, where can he go from this?
It's the closest thing to a 2-way dance you actually will get in that ring. I would completely agree with Thomas that it is the perfect argument to that statement that today's modern wrestling is too choreographed and blah, blah, blah. You've got Malenko here, who is white as a A4 sheet, like bland as an A4 sheet of paper, but just wrestling to its core. And this is just more choreographed than a dinner dance. I didn't have a problem with it either, to be honest with you. It reeked of them having this being their 6 millionth time of doing it, and I mean, I know they're talented enough that this is maybe only their second or third time of doing it, but it was certainly, I don't know, you could call it anything, poetry, emotion, whatever. It's difficult to argue against this one. It is the peak of the year, not just the pay-per-view or tape or whatever we're going to call this.
They made it seem like a legitimate competition in the same way, present it as a pro wrestling match.
Yeah.
And it was just...
It was bizarre to see someone actually go for a legitimate armbar as opposed to just holding their arm against their opponent's arm against their knee. Things like that, just small tidbits had me kind of scratching my head. And even today, it's something fresh in left field, which is kind of sad when you think about it. And it really is just buried in this on this evening. I mean, we've got a few matches to go that we're going to have to talk about, and I'm pretty certain they're going to help win my argument. But this is the one sort of thing that kiboshes it all together, is the Guerrero and Malenko thing.
And the thing as well, it's like it goes to a time limit draw, and to do that, people do that now, and you've always got the really smarky wrestling writers, reviewers and stuff saying, I mean, it kind of hurt the finish that it went to a draw and stuff. And it's like, why? People will say stuff but don't actually know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's because I've heard it somewhere else. I've heard it on another podcast, so to speak, or they've listened to JR's podcast or Jim Cornette podcast, and they'll say, oh yeah, I'm going to copy that. And they'll say something like, oh yeah, this match told a good story, but don't know what a story is. There's some really good psychology here, not knowing what psychology is, or yeah, with a time limit. If you're better with a victor, why?
Why not have a draw?
Why not have a draw? Because this was an incredible match. It still had an ending. It's a title match. Somebody still didn't win. And that's why it worked.
Yeah.
And again, who saw a draw coming? Someone's always going to win and lose.
Yeah. And
so what? again, why not just push it to its absolute limit, where you've just got to ring the bell, be like, no, we can't separate you.
Exactly.
Especially in this era as well, an era of like so many squash matches and everything, just having a big guy coming in, throwing down. You know what's going to happen. In this, yeah, it's choreographed, but there's still that suspension of disbelief.
It's not just that. Was I the only person that was surprised when it went to the draw? Because the match just seemed to fly in, and then the bell rang. I'm like, well, what happened? And then it was done, and then like the title doesn't change hands and stuff, and you're kind of left going, oh, you're so close. And then there's something to build on. There's a rematch in the works somewhere. There's a continuous story to go. That's perfect. I thought the whole presentation was perfect.
I think when you got
to be
fair,
I was going to be fair, I mean, like, we can slag the rest of the booking, the show, and that if we want, and we will. It was also booked perfectly, this match. Everything about it.
No, I don't think ECW at this point is sitting there with a crew of road agents backstage. We have to put this purely down to Guerrero and Malenko, but then of course give credit to Paulie Dangerously, giving them the platform to do it. When you've got two guys just sort of bouncing off each other in such a tight rhythm like this, back and forth, it doesn't actually make a lot of sense to have a winner, in my opinion. Because you're both putting each other over just constantly. There's not a single point where either man looked weaker here. So for someone to just suddenly prevail, it wouldn't have made any sense anyway, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah,
it was such a back and forth competition, and I think that's a key word there. It was like a competition, and you didn't know who's going to win this, because it's just back and forth, upper hand, blah blah, and then it was done. You're like, oh, I want more. I want something more for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean that's after 25 minutes and 57 seconds, and I can't. As much as I'm pretty much down with the Strikers Rules match, it finished at 7 minutes 12. It's a hard comparison to make.
Really is.
Yeah,
but then in a case like a Strikers Rules match, less is more.
Of course. that book is still to be written, as we've discussed. Okay,
the fact that we didn't have any Strikers Rules match post December to December is a travesty, frankly.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're doing all this in your house Halloween Havoc shit with NXT. Why not NXT Takeover Strikers Rules?
I love how they just kind of rebirthed the Dean Douglas gimmick, which is relevant because we're about to move on to a Shane Douglas match. Out of nowhere.
You want to talk about Dean Douglas? This is Shane Douglas.
This is the franchise, okay?
They're two different people.
Come on.
Can we just give some backstory here with Shane Douglas in ECW? I mean,
oh, sure.
This is the guy that actually coined the phrase Extreme Championship Wrestling, more or less. But he took the NWA title and just threw it to the ground and christened it the ECW title. And now, I get that's a sore point. But hey, man, you grab history with balls, He
said the name. Again, Paulie Dangerously is a completely different person.
Stop bringing it up, okay? But look, the NWA thing, the reason it keeps getting brought up is because, it's the NWA. But they done it when they done it for a reason. As much as it pains me to say, when Shane Douglas threw that title down, it was no longer the NWA. It was, it was unfortunately passé. Not to take anything away from it, because as an angle, everything that went down, there's a reason they should still be talking about it. It's a big moment. Can't take it away from him at all. And for him to have the balls to have done that, brilliant. Still, though, it's not... I've double heeled myself here. I'm about to say the NWA at this point wasn't a big deal. Okay, right. Just leave it at that. Fold the book on the fucker. Let's move on. All right, because
Jesus have razors.
For your sixth match of the night, nowhere near the main event point we have the Sandman versus Shane Douglas with women for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. And now if I'm just to flip over here to my boy, December to Dismember, we have Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay going on against the full-blooded Italians with Trinity. What do we think, guys?
I was about to say, where have I heard of the full-blooded Italians before? And it was last week's episode.
You just can't get rid of them.
That's how much I remember the full-blooded Italians. I'm amazed they had a career that went on for 3 years.
You know, the thing is I've never once, like, because they come back for the reunion shows and obviously they get signed then thereafter. Where the fuck were they in the original run? Because I can't find them. Like, did they just get tagged on at the end or something? What's going on?
Yeah, it was near the end.
They're not really originals then, are they?
No, they are genuinely originals, legitimately originals, but we're just kind of like, I remember about 98, I'm going to say, from memory.
That's not bad.
It's not too bad. I mean, they weren't, like, you're not talking like 99, 2000, I think. I'm pretty sure about 98. Because I had the entrance music as well, and it was like an actual song, but I can't remember what it was now. Off the top of my head.
Was the theme tune to The Godfather?
No, it wasn't.
As opposed to the theme tune of To the Sopranos.
Oh man, it was pre-Sopranos, so that shows you how original they are.
Was it Pavarotti?
It was
original though?
It was the Channel 4 Football Italia theme tune.
The Sandman at this point, was he entering to his theme song, Enter the Sandman?
In real life, yeah, but not in the network.
Yeah, of course.
Because
I'm not about to hunt down the tape for this, but you know, yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, the best thing about the Sandman, let's be honest, is his entrance.
Yeah.
And where you don't have Enter Sandman blasting over the PA as he's walking down to the ring, swinging his cane, drinking beer, and the crowd are clearly singing Enter Sandman. It just seems bizarre.
I haven't seen him in a single match where I haven't held my head in my hands. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, and the pinnacle Sandman moment for me is where he's absolutely off his tits at the end of the reunion show. And Stone Cold's trying to cut a promo, and Sandman's like, "Where's the beer?" Like trying to talk into the microphone, and Stone Cold actually has to stop his promo. And goes, "Damn son, there's your beer. Now go." Go, you know, like that's the peak Sandman moment.
These are good impressions. Can we just next show? Can Cammy just do like wrestling impressions?
Yeah, just I'm up for that.
Fucking...
I mean, the Sandman. Have you ever seen like pictures of the Sandman when he first started out? He was pretty jacked, quite ripped, but not in a kind of like overly steroidy type way. Like he was in like really good shape, kind of like I would say like Shane Douglas style shape. Maybe he looked like a proper wrestler. But this stage, if Cammy, right, okay, you've got this great idea for a gimmick.
These are bold fucking claims.
the Strikers Rules match, you've got an idea for a gimmick. It's a great gimmick, it's a great idea. The Rock had a great gimmick, but he had to stay in shape. Batista had to stay in shape, Triple H, blah, blah, blah. Somebody comes to you and says, I'm going to pay you money to go to the ring and smoke and drink. And that's all you need to do. Directly. Exactly. But I'm going to pay you money for it. Anyway, the guy was living a dream.
Who would turn that down?
Yeah. I didn't even smoke it.
Did he even have to go to the gym?
This is also a guy, to be fair, talk about kayfabe, where he was blinded in a match, stayed at home for about a month.
Yeah.
So don't say Sandman doesn't respect the business.
Can we just? I've done a little bit of mid-show homework here. Thomas, you're the host of this. Can you just share my other screen here for me, please? There we go. Okay. Now, I'm just gonna point a few things out here, if you don't mind. Okay.
I'd say minus the traps. This is about how I look at the moment.
I didn't mean to laugh that hard. I'm so sorry.
It's fine. You're more than welcome to laugh at my underdeveloped traps.
Now, do you know why you might have underdeveloped traps, Ollie?
No, actually, please do tell me.
So, overdeveloped traps is a symptom of anabolic steroids.
Yes. I remember now.
So,
in fact, in the last episode, we were talking about Vince McMahon and his overdeveloped traps.
Can we just say, like, Cammy and Ollie's comments on overdeveloped traps does not represent the views and opinions of the Talking Roll Express, apart from Lewis, who doesn't hate to defend himself.
Yeah, it was definitely Lewis. They called Sandman a trend using fuckwit. But yeah, I mean, this is his final form. This is what a beer belly looks like over abs. Okay, this is his final form.
I can work for that. I can work for that.
There are road marks on his ass right at this point. Look at that, Chuck. This is his sweet release after a day of working hard, of lifting a 12-pack of can. Look how excited he is to see his boy right now. Okay, okay. And this is and now keep in mind, Ollie. Okay, if I could just for 1 second, according to Thomas, this is Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
No.
It is Shane
Douglas. Said,
according to Ollie, this is Shane Initial Sandman. Initial Sandman. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have a running.
It's the guy.
You're not taking my spot, sir. Okay, I fought hard for this.
Here as a spectator, I'm 40 minutes in. I'm just here to watch.
He's purely here as an observer.
You interrupted me commenting on Sandman's overdeveloped traps.
Fucking say anything, and you're already accusing me of interrupting you. Just shut up and get along with it, man. Jesus Christ.
So,
hello, everybody.
Lewis, can I just say you have missed some of the most technical, nuanced, and scientific talk on pro wrestling ever.
Lewis, your traps are looking very underdeveloped.
Very
Keep the ECW shirt on me.
Very sus.
I have
Very
that same T-shirt, but after a few washes, there's like a fucking Rangers Castor shop, and it's had to peel.
Guys, in all the excitement about talking about the Sandman's glorious body, we haven't actually talked about the match at all.
Oh, there's a match. I forgot about that.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to have to make this joke.
Okay.
Much like ECW, Rangers finally died in the late 2000s too.
I was waiting for that. And much like Rangers, there's a new co later on. Just for the record, lads, in case Rangers fans want to give me death threats, I am a Rangers fan. I've got a Rangers calendar out there. I will show you. Brian Lauder was April, and he's God. Here we go.
We still haven't came up. Sorry. I'm sorry. Thomas,
sorry.
You still haven't came up with any legitimate arguments about why, for example, Sandman versus Tommy Dreamer is any better than Elijah Burke, Sylvester Turkey versus the full-blooded Italians.
His traps are too small. That's why.
Case closed.
When my traps are Sandman's.
Sandman's.
You're not allowed to speak. Your traps are too small.
I will yield on this one and say this match was not better than the other match at December. 11 years later.
Is December to Dismember the big reference point? Is that how
basically, Lewis, my main heel angle for the episode is that I am ascertaining that December to Dismember is the better event, and I'm making Thomas prove me wrong match by match. And at the moment,
he's saying angle, but we all this isn't kayfabe or anything. We just believe this
outright. Now, I believe we haven't got much to talk about for this match either, so we'll just move on yet again. Sandman defeated Shane Douglas for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, and a heavyweight we have decided he most definitely was at this point. The Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock versus the Pitbulls, Pitbull number 1 and 2, of course, with, again, Stevie Richards.
Yeah, what's the deal with this? Why is Stevie Richards just at every match?
Because the Pitbulls were part of Raven's flock Or, as we're called in ECW, Raven's Nest.
Why does Stevie Richards need to be there?
He's in the stable as well.
I know he's in the stable, but why does he need to be there? They're grown men. They can look after himself without Stevie Richards having to watch over them.
It's a fair point. I mean, the Pitbulls seem to me like pretty legit kind of guys who you wouldn't want to spill their pint. And Stevie Richards,
called the Pitbulls, for God's sake. Why does Stevie Richards need to show up?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why Stevie Richards is backup for the Pitbulls at this point. I don't
Just
get
in
that
case Shipwreck Steve shows up.
Oh, exactly. I can't defend this match. I'm not going to lie.
Well, you're going to have to. Excuse me, Thomas. Well, you're going to have to because up in December to Dismember, we have Davari with the Great Khali versus Tommy Dreamer. I mean, how the hell are you going to top that?
Okay, well, I changed my mind. This match is this is like a 6-star match easily by comparison.
Yeah, but Tommy Dreamer is in the other match, and we haven't seen Tommy Dreamer this whole pay-per-view. So,
was it really the Great Khali, or was it Mikey Shipwreck on stilts?
I wouldn't say it's the Great Khali. I'd say it's the average Khali at best.
Yeah, the half decent Khali.
Excuse me. Within the context of this podcast and date of recording, future Hall of Famer, the Great Khali. Okay, you fucking show some respect.
I thought is that actually happening?
At this stage,
I thought they were just going to duck Trump again or something.
I think Mikey Whipwreck is going to be a future Hall of Famer.
Who? Do you mean Shipwreck Steve?
I want Ollie to induct him.
I would just call him Shipwreck Steve the whole night.
You go up and you're just kind of just sorting papers and like getting his name wrong all the time. You don't even know why you're there.
Well, if any among you watch Hostile City Showdown, no, we are really scraping the bottom of the barrel here for Hall of Famers.
This match was too long for what it was, but what I will say about this match was it was very violent. Like, uncomfortably violent, I thought, because...
I would call it extreme.
That's the second time you've said that tonight, Thomas.
Oh, have you guys already dissected that Gotch Hackenschmidt fucking Ian Rotten versus Axel Rotten masterpiece at the start of the show, yeah?
You just...
You're an observer, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh, his name's Lewis.
What, Mark?
You're taking the piss out of me for getting Steve Shipwreck's name wrong. His name's in the corner of the screen.
I can change that. We'll have security eject you.
Change my mind. Oh, I've full screen myself. That's not good. That's too big.
It's falling up. I don't know how you do this, Lewis. I'm ready to ring the bell here. Oh.
It wasn't a good match, though, was it? Let's be honest.
Oh, there we go.
Always decided to channel his inner Pink Floyd and build a wall.
It's just Shipwreck Steve.
To Shipwreck Steve. Yeah. Well, if he was going to channel his inner Trump, he'd build a wall to Eddie Guerrero.
Is Mikey Whipwreck still alive?
Yes.
Yeah, surprisingly so from that class of 1995. I think he's one of 2 people alive.
Apparently he's trained by Mick Foley.
How the fuck is the Sandman still alive?
He's got developed traps.
Most of the originals are still alive. I mean, granted, they're not afraid, but most of them are still alive.
I mean, Sabu's made out of scrap metal at the moment.
I'm pretty sure in the reunion show that the tribute segment was so long they missed about half the fuckers out.
Well, like, I know who was in that tribute again. There was like Big Dick Dudley, one of the Pitbulls.
He's dead.
I'm pretty sure Crash Holly was in that tribute, and he was like he had like all.
You've just named all the wrestlers that have died after saying a lot of these guys are hanging on. Oh, the tribute, the death tribute. Sorry, my bad. That makes sense.
Raven's still alive, Sandman's still alive, Tommy Dreamer's still alive, Sabu's still alive, Taz's still alive, RVD's still alive. They're all mostly still alive.
Is this a good way for me to segue into my saying that I've seen Sabu wrestle live and he fucking he had a shoot on Stevie Boy during the match and it ended
was Roddy Piper there?
Weirdly. He's dead.
Yes, Roddy Piper is very dead.
Yes. It was weird. Like Stevie Boy, who was a heel, had to come out after it and say, what the fuck was that? That was weird. And after that, Sabu went on stage and took photos of people. This is ICW as well. It was really bizarre night.
He was acting like he was on a busman's holiday.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine Sabu at Butlins doing shows?
Yeah, I can imagine Sabu at Butlins doing shows.
That's prime wrestling territory.
Sure
I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
I'm pretty sure they had a WWE show at Butlins.
No, I think it was like that kind of like fake WWF show they had, where it was like the guy playing Kane.
No, I'm pretty sure they did a UK tour, and it was at Minehead.
Have you ever seen that post? I remember. If you remember that post, it was like the fake WWF style. It was American wrestling. It was like different local wrestlers playing like Steve Austin and The Rock and things like that.
So they did a tribute show.
Yeah.
Because what I'm talking about, I'm convinced it. I remember seeing it being advertised as a WWE thing, them advertising them themselves. But I want to go down this route of that one of those tribute acts where it's like Smells Like Queen and DCBC and Muftalica, and it's just a load of tribute bands. But that for wrestling, that's quite sad.
Yeah,
that's quite upsetting. I'm actually quite sad.
I'll find the post and send you because like Kane walks out and he's like 5'2". Yeah, it's like...
I'd go for that, man. I would happily become like a fucking Great Khali tribute act or something. Show up in a pair of trackies and a fucking wig and just not move.
I'd be trying to hit them out of left field and show up as one of the Godwins.
It's like one of the Godwins, the Big Show, and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
No, just like kids are looking at you like, who the fuck is that meant to be? And the parents like, I don't know. And I'm just like living the role from a slot bucket.
I'm Henry O. Godwin.
Do you know who I am?
It's going to be like a Stone Cold tribute act.
You're observing.
I bet. Hey, excuse me. No bullying on my podcast, okay?
Show what's interesting. Like, of all the podcasts we've did over the last year and all the shit we've talked, the Godwins have probably been mentioned more than any other wrestler.
I'm actually starting to mark out whenever I get a whiff of them at this point. It's like what you got, Stockholm syndrome. Well, clearly we haven't got a lot to talk about here, so we're just going to move on to the next match of the night, which is Kevin Foreman and Ariel against Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly. Of course, I'm referring to December to Dismember once more.
Oh, right. I was about to say none of those guys are Ron Simmons.
And over on Hostile City Showdown, we have 9/11 with Paulie Dean.
9/11.
9/11.
Fucking hell.
1-1 with Paulie.
I'm pretty sure the Twin Towers broke up long before then.
That's true.
With Paulie Dangerously versus Ron Simmons. Thoughts, guys? I would actually like to hear from our boy Lewis first. Please, Lewis, take it away.
No. I have no opinions on this. After
No.
I drifted off. Bicker amongst yourselves.
I'd like to know why Lewis is like some sort of rave. He's kind of lighting in the house.
Yeah, it was
the blue and white lighting thing, notoriously staunch to try and please Thomas. Get back in his good books after I fucking pissed him off.
Thomas, please enlighten us to your feelings of Kevin Kelly and Mike Knox versus Kevin Foreman and Ariel.
Sorry, Kevin Kelly against fucking who? Kevin. You're not even drinking. That's the worst part.
Kevin Kelly and Mike Knox versus Ariel and Kevin Foreman.
Is this the one?
Do you want to try that again?
The really heavy. Is this a match?
It's Kelly, not Kevin Kelly. Who the fuck is Kevin Kelly?
Was Kevin Kelly on a backstage personality?
Yeah, in the backstage interviews, The Rock used to constantly take the piss out of him. That was who Kevin Kelly was.
Yeah, but that's not the guy who was in this.
I know it wasn't the guy, but it doesn't matter now.
I'm not claiming it's not a real person. This isn't a Shipwreck Steve scenario.
Thomas, your thoughts?
Was this the match with the really pervy upskirt camera angles and stuff?
It's WWE Circa 2006, so there's a lot of pervy upskirt angles going on here.
No, but I think it was like one that was like ridiculously late.
Yeah.
It's not the Playboy 10-minute preview here. What he's up to?
I mean, yeah.
I want to point out that Thomas is raiding his wank bank right now, going, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the match."
He's just rolling them back in his head.
My point being,
he can actually tell you the timestamp on the VHS.
He's some kind of savant who'll be able to recall the results of every bra and panties match in WWE history.
I think this comparison to Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk puts the weight in the favour of Hostile City Showdown 95, because not even Heyman, in his crazy fucking Nokia 3210 phase, trying to record a match in a bingo hall, went that far as trying to record up a woman's skirt.
Again, I will bring in the fact that Ron Simmons did not wear a skirt. It's impossible to film up a skirt that is not being worn.
I'm just going to start talking about wrestling again. I was happy to see Ron Simmons. I don't for a second believe that 911 could defeat Ron Simmons. We're talking about the world's first black heavyweight champion.
Can I again please apologise? When I picked this pay-per-view
and Vader Victor
show, I looked at the card and I saw Ron Simmons is on it. Great, we all love Ron Simmons. This will be fun. And then just watched a minute of 911 beating Ron Simmons, and I was upset.
Yeah, so you should be.
Yeah, I was.
You know how hard I've worked to keep this ball rolling? There's not enough momentum in this bitch. I am sweating right now, Thomas. It's been arduous work to try and make this listenable, okay? No one's going to go and watch this pay-per-view after this. No one. You know what they will go and watch, though? They'll go and watch Kevin Thorne and Ariel versus Mike Knox and Kelly because they think they're going to get some upskirt action.
Good. Yes.
Can I just point back to when Cammy shared his screen earlier? Had some tabs open at the top. He had 2 tabs open for the Soundbed Dismember. 2 separate tabs.
That's still not enough December to dismember for my liking.
It's because the Wikipedia page is so convoluted because they're trying to explain what happened. So it's really hard to just go when you go to Hostile City Showdown, it's bullet pointed, but December to December is just a mess of someone going, I don't know what the fuck happened here. So you have to then go to Pro Wrestling Fandom just to get it bullet pointed and annotated.
Also, if you want to hear a more detailed review of December Dismember, you can look at the Talking Wrestle What's the podcast called? Oh, so wrong. The Talking Roll Express archives, and you can listen and watch a review of that show.
Well, I wasn't here, so this is the one they're focusing on. We've not got a lot to talk about here with 911 defeating Ron Simmons, other than the fact that, by God, it definitely...
Sorry, can I say that with 911? I see the Big Show has signed for AEW.
Fuck's sake, yeah.
Right. Somebody went and said, I can't remember what it was, but it was like a wrestling podcast, it was like a Jericho type thing, and said, look, they could use him in the 911 kind of way. He comes out and does stuff, and I'm like, please do that, please.
I like that view of it as well. I was like, he can come out, he can do stuff, which is the definition of wrestling. He comes out, he does stuff.
I've often said the future of the business belongs with the 50-year-olds, doesn't it? You know?
Exactly. Also, shout out to Lewis, who is definitely going for the Snyder Cut. That's Petri show.
I'll watch all 4 hours of it, baby.
And we move on. Yes, and we move on to our main events, okay? And on our 1995 side, we're looking at Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk in a singles match. And I don't know how you're going to manage this, Thomas. We are looking at Bobby Lashley versus The Big Show versus Rob Van versus Hardcore Holly versus CM Punk.
Cameron.
And versus...
Slow down.
Test.
Test.
Okay.
Well done. Okay, test.
In
Test.
an extreme
Good.
elimination
Test.
chamber match for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, please explain to me why Cactus Jack versus Terry Funk is better than this event, this one-off extravaganza.
I'm going to say, I think it's good that Bobby Lashley is getting a second run and getting the titles he deserves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you next week. Yeah. I don't know. I really liked him in the mid-2000s. I thought he was a again, big, dominant guy. He had the moveset of a big, dominant guy as well, but it never felt like it took off for him.
Mm.
He got moved over to ECW. He had that brief moment in the sun where he was Trump's enforcer or whatever in that hair versus hair match, but then I'm pretty sure it didn't really take off for him after that. So the fact he's been able to come back and really start to carve out again, I'm very happy about it. It's got nothing to do with this podcast, but I just want to say I'm happy for him. And Bobby, if you're listening, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I think he's got a title match at WrestleMania, defending it. That's great.
Yeah.
And
You can drop it to Drew in 10 minutes.
I think,
Spoiler alert.
I think he's going to retain.
I think Vince has put too much stock into Big Drew.
I know, but he's.
No, you could drop it to him again and just drop it again in another 6 months. Why not have it having a bit of a back and forth?
Yeah.
Really build it up as a long running thing, which feels like something they can't do these days.
That doesn't explain the Elimination Chamber match, which was an absolute disaster from start to finish, including, if I recall, a botched pin.
Yeah, Holly kicked out
Yeah.
too, and he just got out anyway, didn't he? To be fair, no one can really blame him for wanting to get out.
I was about to say, I respect him more than anyone in the business at that point.
At least this was Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. Terry Funk, who I may add, is younger than Goldberg is now. In this
That is a fact to throw out there.
And Terry Funk looked about 90, fighting Cactus Jack here. And
it might have something to do with his underdeveloped traps, Thomas.
It could be. I mean, I don't want to start casting aspersions as to what Goldberg is or is not up to.
Or Terry Funk for that matter.
Or Terry Funk for that matter. But I didn't mind this match because it was two guys who I respect quite a lot, and whether it was hardly like a technical wrestling match, they told a really good story. It was really bitter, it was really violent, and again, like setting fire.
Yeah. I mean, what is there else to say, Thomas, except from Matty Bicord of the wrestling recaps role?
From Slut.
Matt Bicord of Wrestling Recaps. Guerrero Malenko has started something good. Raven Dreamer is historically important to the angle. There's a changing of the guard, so to speak, now that Saman is the ECW World Champion. The rest is the standard procedure from ECW. A mild thumbs up for Hostile City Showdown 1995.
Mild thumbs up.
Slam Sports said, 4 of 10 stars. The two matches that were promoted saved this thing from being a debacle. December to Dismember. That's it.
Oh, hold on. 4 out of 10 stars? Is this whole is Dave Meltzer this entire time been rating stuff out of 10 stars? And everybody has been hanging at his ass because he's like, it's a 5-star match, it's a 6-star match, but it's been a 10 the entire time.
I'm going to go on another tangent here. If he is rating stuff out of 5 stars, a 6-star match is the biggest load of horse shit I've ever seen.
He's given a 7 stars match before.
That's just fucking stupid. You could just give something. You could give it 10 out of 5. You can just give it whatever the fuck you want. 100 out of 5, 2 million out of 5. It's just fucking stupid. I mean, stick to 5 out of 5 or fuck off, Meltzer. I know you can hear me.
To invoke The Simpsons again, do you remember the episode where Homer becomes the food critic?
9 thumbs up. What the hell is that?
I did 10 thumbs up. What the hell is that?
Oh, the episode with the softball team. You'll give 110%. That's impossible. You can give more than 100%.
Meningly, I thought I told you to trim those sideburns.
Your worst review was the slice of pizza you found under the couch. Lost some points because it had a heart wheel on it.
Cammy does look like the epitome of somebody who's been told to trim those sideburns and he still hasn't.
It lost some points because it had a Sandman in it.
I have tried hard to ensure that we would have something to talk about this evening.
And we have. We've been talking for an hour and a quarter.
And by God, I hope this is listenable. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I've been your host, Cameron
Wait, I
McGrath.
forgot to say, I really like Chainsaw Charlie in this.
Chainsaw Charlie versus Dude Love, it was great.
They're all the same
Cameron
person, it doesn't matter.
Oh, no,
I am joined by my co-hosts.
Can you say you've got Cactus Jack and that running with the ring with fire? They don't have actual fire marshals called Tommy Dreamer and Axel Rotten with a fire extinguisher and a blanket.
Oh, it's so carny. So carny.
Like the flames on the back. Unlike the flames on the back.
I'm pretty sure
Of
I
Terry
think
Funk.
that shirt you're
My
wearing,
hope.
Cammy.
Like the flames on the back of Terry Funk, my hope is distinguished. I
I
wish
threw
you
up
all.
on it at Glastonbury.
I wish you
Not
all
your
good
shirt.
evening. Thank you very much for coming. Your contributions to the wrestling world will surely be forgotten. It's been a tough listen, a tough talk, and a tough watch, but by God, we managed it. Gentlemen, thank you.